Alright, welcome back everyone. So in this video we're going to refactor our code a little bit, make sure that everything's in order. Some things were changed, some things were added from video to video, so we need to go back and make sure that all of our earlier code is working how it's supposed to. So if we go to AJAX.javascript, we can see that the code we have for adding a new item doesn't include the edit form because we didn't add that until later. So we'll copy this form right here and we'll go back up right inside of the list item above the span. We'll paste this in here. Okay, so we have the form here. One thing that I also noticed is our button for editing is not the same as the new updated button. So we'll refer down here to this button that we have here, copy it, we'll go back up. Here's this anchor tag on line 21. This is our old button and we'll just replace it with the new button. The other thing that we just added in the last video is this delete form has a class. So we'll go down here, take a look at it, and it's actually not in here. We'll go to the views, index.ejs, change our highlighting, and here we go. We have a class of delete item form that is on the delete form. So we'll go back here inside of our AJAX.javascript, scroll up, here's our form for delete. We'll go ahead and add the class here, and down here inside of edit we also need to add that class to the delete form inside of the edit code. Okay, so we'll save that. Let's go make sure everything's working now. Inside my terminal I already have my no daemon running and my Mongo daemon running, so I'm all good there. I'll go back to my browser, refresh, and now if we add a new item, say go to the gym, then we should be able to edit it. Go to the store, and that works fine. We should also be able to delete that item. If we press cancel, it unfocuses or blurs rather, and if we click delete again, we click OK, it gets removed from the DOM. So we're all set there. If we edit an item, same difference. We can say walk the dog, and this is working as expected as well. So one other thing is back over here in our code, in the index.ejs, I did notice that the new form doesn't have a placeholder. So let's go ahead and add one now. We'll say placeholder is equal to walk the dog. And also we're seeing that the label and the input are not connected. So in HTML you have to use a for attribute on the label and an ID on the input and have those match. So this is so that you can pass validation. People with screen readers can actually know what is connected to what in your markup. So we'll say label for is equal to, and we'll say new dash item, and then in the input we'll say ID is equal to new dash item. So now our for attribute is matched up to our ID from the label to the input. The same thing needs to occur down here inside of this form. So we have a label item text and it needs to match up with the input ID. The problem here is that this is going to repeat inside of a loop. So we know that IDs cannot repeat, so we need to find a way to get a unique ID. Fortunately for us, we have this ID coming from the database, the to-do ID. So we can just say for each form, for each item, we have a label for is equal to, and then we pass in that to-do ID with the EJS syntax. And then the input, same difference. We'll add an ID here, and we'll set it equal to the to-do ID. So the great thing about this is we can go over to our AJAX.javascript and we can add in the same thing here. Anytime a new item is created, the form is going to have a label that needs to match up to the input. So same difference here. We'll say for is equal to, but this time we'll use template literal syntax, or some people know it as string interpolation. So we'll say data.id. We'll go ahead and copy this, bring it down here into the input. We'll say ID is equal to data ID. And now we can just copy this entire thing, go down here, and where we have this one inside of the edit code, we can paste it in, go ahead and fix that. So we've just added a for and an ID attribute using the data ID, which is the same as the to-do ID over here in our EJS. Now if we save that, this is saved as well. We can go back to our Chrome, refresh, and if I use the developer console and we take a look at the edit form, so let me click that real quick, and we'll select this, So the label has this unique identification number here that comes from Mongo, and then the input has a matching identification number. And if we add another one, walk the dog, now we have two walk the dogs, but this second walk the dog has its own label and input, which have their own custom identification here. All right, great. So let's just refresh all this. We don't want to walk the dog twice. He might get too tired, so we'll go ahead and remove one of those. All right, so that's how you build a single page application using jQuery and AJAX. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks everyone.